It's the old Doctor Who show, episode number 118, The Gunfighters.
Go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.
You couldn't control my mind before, and you certainly can't control it now.
Would you like a jelly, dear?
The TARDIS, when working properly, is capable of many amazing things.
Reverse the polarity of the neutron flows, and the TARDIS will be free of the force field.
But the TARDIS is more than a machine. It's like a person, you see.
The resulting reaction is Friday. Are you ready?
Welcome back to the old Doctor Who show, your tri-weekly classic, Doctor Who Us review, Doctor Who Us review podcast for you. Listen now, Dan.
I am just as confused as everyone listening to this. I think Eric has been.
I'm
that's
drinking
green alcohol,
elderflower juice that I got at IKEA. That is you mixed one part. This stuff is so concentrated, it'll take the paint off your car. It's a 1 to 6 part mixture, so you know it's if you just drink it straight without adding that water. You can see through time.
All you folks that are listening from other parts of the country and
That's
world,
how I say
that
water.
is some South Jersey water for you.
Hey, I gotta have enough water. What do other people say?
Water.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that with the other water?
Yeah.
Call us up and leave us a message how you
we
say
say water.
Water?
That's all we need that Twitter engagement. Give us a
speaking
a
of Twitter,
you
I guess
saying
it's
water.
we usually do this at the end, but we're gonna do a Twitter Spaces thing. I recently
like,
had to do it. Yeah,
Clubhouse, but for everyone else.
yeah, I did one once. I was interviewed for Goblin, available
Was
now. Where I was actually asked about this show, this very show you're listening to. But it seemed like
Not
it
this
worked
episode.
pretty well, and I think all you need to do is follow Dan and I on Twitter, which you should be doing anyway.
Yep.
And then you
And follow
join
the old Doctor Who show.
Yeah, and then people can actually get brought in, and we can actually take calls, like take instant feedback with your voice on air. And I don't know how we're going to record it, though. That's why we're not doing it now.
We won't edit a damn thing. If you guys want to get in there and just tell us all of your crazy conspiracy theories that just might be true.
Yeah.
Get in there.
Yeah, if you want to go there and say, I have a theory that Russell T. Davies is going to come back and take over as showrunner of Doctor Who,
so
that's where you would drop that.
That's some big news.
That is some big
news.
news.
Big Doctor Who shoot.
Yeah, that's some big news. That's some big shoe news. Dana, how are you feeling about this news?
So I thought, well, this is true for all of the showrunners. They're all divisive. No one likes anything. It was always better when I blah 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 blah, and nothing's ever as good as it was in the old days. So, given that, Russell T. Davies, I started watching Doctor Who besides random episodes on PBS that I mentioned before when I was a kid. But I started really watching Doctor Who in the new episodes in the Davies era. So I have a particular fondness for it. I feel like I got to see over the tenure of his run, how the show evolved and kind of found its footing and kind of grew to love the characters and see the changes. I love it. I'm very excited for it. I like the way that he tells his stories. I like the mythos that he was able to develop around it. And I honestly think it's time, I've said this before, I think it's time for us to kind of get back to what Doctor Who was before this current run. I like a lot of the stuff they did.
This is when Dan starts his Make Doctor Who Great Again spiel.
But I kind of, a little bit, I love Jodie Whittaker. I think she was fantastic in this role. I liked the companions. I think some of the stories are really good. But I think it just strayed too far away and got into some weird areas that I quite honestly think they're painting themselves into a corner with a lot of the stuff that they've evolved in canon. So I would love to see someone who has had a chance running the show before, did significant work in the show and developing the mythology of it, and has undoubtedly been paying attention to what has happened and has ideas. Otherwise, Davies wouldn't have agreed to come back on unless he knew what he wanted to do with it. So it's exciting to see, not so much that they're righting the ship, but just, maybe tacking it slightly in a different direction, perhaps, in a one that I'm fond of. But that said, I've liked all of the showrunners. I like Moffat a lot. Very different than Davies, but I really enjoyed him.
Yeah, I think that was my least favorite.
The current.
I didn't like. I liked Moffat as a writer, like all of his episodes, but like some of that stuff was my least favorite, and I don't know. That's a longer conversation. Well, he has some, but I felt like he always was a lot more spectacle than substance on a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Russell T Davies was my favorite era, so of course, nostalgia. Yeah, I'll take that. So I am happy. Absolutely. I would like to see Russell T Davies write or showrun Jodie Whittaker. Like, I wish she was staying
that would be nice.
For at least one more with him, just to see how that would have gone.
Well, so I've only seen like the headlines. Honestly, you kind of sent this my way, and I was like, "This is very exciting, very cool." And then literally did no other research about it. And one of our listeners wrote in about it as well. But so there's the holiday specials as well. At least one holiday special, right before it actually goes to season. So there's a chance, maybe there's a chance that we'll have one with Jodie. I don't know what the announcement's been around her leaving. Jodie, because we're best friends, you can call her first name basis.
I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be Russell T Davies back, and then by some, no one ever said a Time Lord can't go back to a previous form, and it's going to be David Tennant. And it's
if it would, oh man, I would absolutely die if that happened.
Yeah, it's going to be David Tennant and Donna, right?
What if it was Eccleston? It was Eccleston and
Eccleston and Tennant as a couple,
as both, as the companion, the Doctor and the companion. They just switch back.
Yeah, but it's gonna be Christopher Eccleston as Donna, but they're never gonna mention.
They won't mention it.
No, it'll just be like Donna. Played straight.
I mean, it's the Dr. Donna. They could have done anything with her. So she looks like Eccleston, and yeah. No, but that's a really good. That's interesting. It would be really nice if we saw Jodie Whittaker under a different showrunner and kind of see what happens and help with a transition to undoubtedly a new Doctor.
It's all fine. I mean, there is is it a step backward? Because every time you're going back to something, you can never go home again, and what if?
But that presupposes that he hasn't. That presupposes that he hasn't learned anything in intervening years. Hasn't been giving thought to even idly in the back of his mind. Oh, it'd be really. Watching the show, it'd be really interesting if I had done this, or if I had. Blah, 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 blah. So of course he's changed over the time, and so it's not going to be the exact same thing coming back. But I don't think anyone would want it to be 100%, 2005 again. Although if the world returned to 2005 again, that would be a different thing. But not the show. So that happened. Although I will say. Yeah. If the announcement had been Moffat was returning, I would probably feel less excited about it.
Yeah, I would feel less excited as well.
I think it was under Moffat, though, that we had one of my favorite episodes. That was a Neil Gaiman episode.
Oh, the Doctor's wife? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. That was Moffat, right? I only said that just to do a quick segue. Segue quickly to the Netflix trailer for the Sandman series.
It's not really a trailer. It's just, hey, look, we're taking dialogue right from the panel, so you get some... Unless there's a new one, but it was just comic panel, scene, comic panel, scene.
No.
Oh, I missed
the one that I just sent you? Oh, yeah, you should see... Okay, so there were those...
I saw a thing that Neil Gaiman shared, I think... Yes. That was showing a panel from the first issue of Sandman with the demonology or the. My brain is shut down, which I think we'll get to later when we review this episode. With the Satanists, but they're not quite Satanists. They're right. You see them and the panel of that, and then the actor, and then it goes back and forth until you reveal the actor playing Dream. But you're saying there's a proper trailer that I assume...
There's a proper trailer that is like a first look. It's maybe a minute long, and it is just that entire first scene of them trying to summon death.
Without the comic panels.
But without the comic panels, it's just the show. It shows a lot more of the characters around them, the setting. They've shared a number of things. Neil Gaiman did a few of them, showing walking through the production design, seeing some of the sets, some of the props, and it looks... Honestly, the comics came to life. They're absolutely stunning. They're so much practical sets and props as opposed to, places where green screen's going to fill in the rest. It looks so good. This one is, that whole, portions of that first scene trying to summon death, but instead they get Dream, and you gotta get to see the actor playing Morpheus there briefly. It looks so freaking good. It is my favorite comic series of all time, start to finish. Just amazing. So I can't wait for that. Eric, we've talked about
we're both
the Sandman several times.
We're both big Sandman fans.
I
would like to reread it. I did get the Absolute editions years ago when they came out, and I reread them in that form.
Right.
So I think I should read everything again.
Maybe I should
before. They're worth buying. I don't know if they're very expensive now.
I have the trades. And then I have them from when I started collecting as it was still running. So I have somewhere starting around like episode, like number 40 something, 47, 48 around there. So I have them all in my Mylar sleeves still on cardboard, all the way through to the end, the wake, and all of that. And then a little bit after that, then it got a little bit weird because I had like the Dreaming. It was just all the side characters, which I still loved, but like it just wasn't the same as that. Yeah. But then they, brought it back again, and I still haven't quite finished that. I guess I'm not as big as a fan as I thought I was. Guys, what are we here to talk about?
Hey, we have Neil Gaiman fans, Sam Keith fans. You all got something to sink your teeth into. Okay, so we're not here to talk about Sandman. We're here to talk about
Dune.
Dune.
Wait, no, we're not talking about Dune.
Did
no,
we
we're not.
There's no Dune.
Is there anything to talk about? I don't know. Maybe we can talk about Dune again.
Talk about. Right?
I would always talk about Dune. I can't. It's so close.
We're here to talk about Johnny Ringo.
My God.
I think we just got to get into
Let's do
the
this.
Gunfighters. And a big and a hat tip to Hair of the Hound, who I believe is the one that recommended that we cover.
Oh, so that's who we have to murder.
I think so. Yeah. So let's hit that button, Dan. Unless you can think of anything else. I'm blanking on everything.
To delay us from having to talk about this story? Oh, wait, maybe you like it. I'm not going to presuppose. I think you actually love this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Hit the button.
Let's just find the damn button. Let's do this.
Whoop.
Forgive me, sir. I should have knocked.
What's your business?
Well, the fact is, I have a toothache.
Well, glory be.
What do you know?
You know you're our very first customer.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, under the circumstances, I think perhaps... yes, excuse me.
Now, stranger, just you sit right down in that chair.
Right along here, honey.
Well, as a matter of fact, my dear sir...
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, it don't do to delay dental treatments. Down you go. That's the philosophy of toothache. Now, you go in the back room, Kate.
No, can I watch?
Now, you know you can't stand the sight of blood.
Oh, okay. But I'll be thinking of you.
What a jip. Oh.
She's kind of a sensitive girl. Well, now, what seems to be your trouble, sir?
Well, I think it's at the back here somewhere.
Yeah, let me look. Oh, yeah, I see. Well, now, if you'll just hold real still, I'll,
just a minute, please. Haven't you any anesthetic?
Any what?
Well, something to sort of dull the pain, man.
Well, I could give you a rap on the cranium with this,
Good
six-shooter.
gracious, certainly not.
Well, you're welcome to a slug of rattlesnake
Oh,
oil.
my dear man, I never touch alcohol. Oh.
Well, I do.
Did you forget to keep your ringer on and ask people to call?
Okay. All right. Here we go.
Are we interrupting something important?
Dan. This is the
Eric.
Oh God. This is the Gunfighters. This is the 7th serial of the 3rd season. Lucky number 3. We don't usually get those lucky seasons, but right here, 3. That's when the magic is going to happen. This came to us in 1966. This thing. If you were wondering what would happen at the OK Corral, you're interested in Doc Holliday and what his day-to-day business life was like as a tooth tinkerer. This story's for you because a
tooth fairy, if you will.
The doctor and 2 companions I'm not really all that familiar with. One of them I was like, oh yeah, that guy. No idea who that woman is. They end up hanging out in the Old West. That's all I got. I forgot to do this part. We're fine. Dan, what did you think? I have when I get to my thing, all of this will make sense. Dan, what did you think of the Gunfighters?
Eric. Okay, so I'm biased because A, I don't like Doctor Who,
right?
And because I don't like historicals that much, as we know. And I don't like westerns as period in any sort of form, read Doctor Who or otherwise.
Right. Not looking good so far. Yep.
The unneeded music throughout the same tune. Yeah. It wasn't even. So we had someone had said, I think it was Harry, maybe someone else had said, it's not really musical, but there are singing. There is singing throughout it. One of the characters sings, etc.
Yeah, we thought it was a musical.
Okay, that's not the worst thing. I mean, I actually like musical theater. I like musical movies. I don't seek them out, but I like them. So I was like, okay, that's gonna be fine. No, it's the same 8 bars over and over again throughout, telling us the story of what we're seeing at the time that we're seeing it. Oh my God! If it hadn't been for the music, this would have been a fairly tolerable episode. I think it has some really good things going on there. The mix up with Doc Holliday and the Doctor was kind of cool. I think the acting overall was actually pretty good. Some accents coming and going, leaving that aside, because they do an American accent better than I do any other accent. So that's great. Good job. The production design was really good. The story actually moved pretty quickly. I don't think there was a lot of back and forth that you kind of get with someone's captured. Now you kind of get all that. None of that. Overall, it was fine. It was literally the music that made me just want to rip my hair. Every single time it came on, I literally said out loud, "Oh Jesus fucking Christ!" And you can bleep this. I'm sorry if that's going to be too. I don't want to give us. I don't want to give us. An explicit rating here, but that's literally what came out of my mouth every single time it happened. So that happened obviously dozens of times. Some standout performances. I liked Doc Holliday. I liked Wyatt Earp. I liked Katie a lot. The Doctor's fine. Steven's fine. We don't know Dodo. We've never met her before, so I looked up her backstory, and she's like, okay, she was all right, but she didn't serve a whole lot of function in this. So it was okay. It was an okay episode that was made torturous by that repeating melody. Eric, that's my opinion to this. What was yours?
Well, Dan, I loved every single minute of this. This was the best Doctor Who story that I think I've ever seen. Now, hold on. Now,
and this is the end of our show.
In full disclosure, I had taken edibles before I had watched the 4 parts. So I was on my way. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take 2 of these. And I never laughed more watching Doctor Who in my life. And I have probably no idea what happened in the story. But I was playing my own story in my head, which was watching these actors struggle to do an American accent to the point where their brain was short-circuited. And that main guy, the main bad guy, I can't even remember his name, his brain was melting. It looked like there's blood coming out of his ears. He couldn't even hit his mark half the time because he was so preoccupied. None of the dialogue makes any sense. There's too many words, so that just sort of rambles on, and everyone's standing around, and the Doctor literally has a toothache. Like in a modern Doctor Who, or even in Tom Baker and beyond, they would have landed there. The Doctor would have known where they were and been like, oh, I got to go see Doc Holliday. Wink to the camera. We know he's a dentist, and he's going to pretend that he has a toothache to go see him. But the Doctor legitimately has a toothache, has dental surgery without any anesthetic at all, where he gets the tooth ripped out and it's black. So in my head, I was like, okay, imagine the rest of this as if he really had that dental surgery covered in blood, because that's what it would have been like. Oh my God, the bullets that shoot and don't shatter anything, the accent, it was like watching The Room. It was so bad that it elevated itself into this most amazing, the acting was awful. You said the acting was good. The acting was some of the worst. Like some of these like hokey guys, and like especially the guy. I while I was watching it, I shot a video, which I'll try to drop the audio in on Twitter of like this one line that I watched like 1,000 times, where the guy's talking about his itchy back, and he's like,
I don't know, but when he comes to collect his key, I'll sure have me an itchy feeling in my back, thinking of his friend Regret coming down those stairs behind me. Finn.
There was like weird lines, and I also have on here like was literally everyone was like sassy to each other, like especially Doc Holliday was doing like this weird like I don't know what that character was. He reminded me of like something in a Tim Heidecker universe. Like if Will Forte was playing some weird character in that was sort of like the Doc Holliday thing where he would just get sassy on people. And he also had like a Zach Galifianakis kind of vibe going on too. But where he was like, he would just turn to the camera and be like, sure seems a pity bother to have that tooth out. Like, who are you talking to? Like, half the time it's like, what is this all just for me? But Doc College was just very savage and like would just get like, like there was like there was some Jim J. Bullock energy too coming off of Steven. And then in my head,
that might be why I liked it.
The acting, like everything fell into this place where I was like, if we cast Divine as this person, and we got like Edith the Egg Lady, and had her like, and this could have been a John Waters movie.
Yeah.
But oh my God, my notes are insane. Like I'm just looking at my notes here. I don't know, Dan. It was so good. I thought the woman was great too. The blonde-haired woman that was like, "Why don't you come up and see me sometime?" Wonderful. She was the only one that actually could pull off the American accent. The accents were were so bad, and Wyatt Earp, at one point, like he looks over at Jim J. Bullock, who it's not Jim J. Bullock. In my head, it was Jim J. Bullock. What's his name? Steven? I know my first name is Steven.
Yes, Steven. Yep.
Looks over at him and like does like some line to him, like, you guys aren't together. Eric. Like, what are you talking about? He rolls his eyes and goes, "That's all we need." To like it was so awesome but awful. It was like simultaneously the worst and best thing I've ever seen. And as soon as it started, I didn't know who the crew was. Like I'm like, I kind of remember Steven, didn't know who Dodo was. I was like, I hate this whole crew. Like immediately.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't like any of these people. But then it just went to that other level where it was just so bad. And for me, I was imagining the actors on the set struggling to do their lines, and the one guy could not. I gotta find his name. He was the worst. He couldn't get anything done. Oh my God!
I think you're talking about maybe Ike Clanton.
I could watch this again. Like that's the thing. Yeah. Like sometimes you watch an episode of Doctor Who, and you're like, "Well, I'll never watch that again." This one I could probably watch my entire life. This was like something that I would have put on in like college, and you just would like. It was so. It was like perfectly. What's the word I'm looking for? Campy. Yes. There's a word for this type of thing, which it was just like
god awful.
No, yes.
Again,
kitschy.
But I understand.
Yeah.
Like it is fun. Like there are definitely it is silly. There are some fun things going on. I mean, who doesn't like a wrongly accused person about to be lynched? I mean, that's great. It's super fun. But it is the damn song. I swear to God.
Well, how else?
If they had
the song was like Stan Lee dialogue. Like you're literally watching the thing, and then they're singing what you're watching. It's like we don't need a caption.
Sometimes,
here.
Yeah.
Johnny Ringo sucks too.
Who is
by the way.
Who was it for? Oh yeah, okay. So by far, as a main character and guest star, he was the worst.
Here's the other thing. There was the scene with the guy, and he had the lad that was supposed to be his son or the little brother, but then there was lots of hand touching on the legs, and he had the scarf on. Okay, so like, oh my God, you know what I'm talking again. So I was on my own journey. Virgil. Right, so you have to imagine I'm on my own journey. So I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, that that's fine. They're a couple, I guess, but then it turns out he's like,
when the cameras turn off, who knows what's gonna happen?
That, like Fred scar from Scooby Doo. Like he was just sitting on the edge of the thing, and he's tapping his leg, and he's calling him lad. So I don't know. Did they? It's fine.
That was one of the weird things. So that was Virgil Earp. That was Wyatt Earp's younger brother. What was really funny was both him and someone also refers to Steven as boy. And it's like, these people are in their late 20s at youngest. Oh, yeah. They're probably pushing 30, if not more than that. And you're too young to be a gunfight. What the hell are you talking about?
And why do they keep singing about the death of Charlie the bartender? So he gets killed, but then
one I felt the most.
Yeah, there's two different songs.
There's two times they talk about it.
And then there's like those weird scenes, because it's like 3 different camera angles, right? There's the camera angle that's like at a 45-degree angle down that's awkward and it's too close. Then there's like the long shot. So you get that like weird aerial long shot of them from carrying the body of the guy that got knocked out while they're singing the thing. And it was just so weird.
He had gone slightly mental, according to the lyrics. When
Doc
he got
Holliday
hit on the
looked
head.
like a mix of like Will Forte and Amy Poehler. And that's why I kept thinking whatever I was watching a different show. I think that's safe
that
to
I
say.
would have watched. That I would have absolutely watched. Yeah, that's great. I have had viewings of Doctor Who under the influence, and not had nearly as good a time as you did with this one.
I couldn't stop laughing. It was like the funny. I would recommend, honestly, if you can, do that and then rewatch just even one episode of this, because it's so...
No, I mean, I can, but I won't. There's not a chance in the world I'll be doing that. So talking about this crew, the Doctor himself, this is the third season,
no
so
sense.
I think...
I'm sorry, I'm just still thinking about how it makes no sense. Tell me the names of the people, because I don't know what I'm talking about. Who is the guy that goes to see the Doc in his... And by the way, Doc Holliday's like in hiding, but he's opening his dental practice, but everyone seems to know he's Doc Holliday, kind of, but not really.
Sort of. They know of him.
When they go to the dentist, the guy that goes into the dentist's office and the doctor's in the chair and it's the old mix-up. What's that guy's name?
Oh God, I can't remember who was who when. But there's Bat Masterson, who's the actual like sheriff in town, and Wyatt. So there were the two of them,
right? So, but that scene in particular, like they're trying to kill Doc Holliday, right? The bad guys, the Coltons or whatever.
the Clantons are
trying to kill him.
Yes,
they literally run into him.
Yeah,
but then he's like, "I'll buy you a drink later, and then we'll kill it." Like, why not just gun him down in the chair?
Sure,
right? I didn't understand.
Wait,
why did they then have a meet at the thing? So the other guys, and then half the time they're ready to gun him down, but then if there's a sheriff there, he's like, "If you didn't have that badge." But it's like, what are you talking about? Next scene, you're attacking the police station without... and then none of them get arrested. Like
none of them get arrested. No, they're just going to meet the next day at the OK Corral at sunrise and have the worst gunfight ever. That scene that made me laugh too. That just drove me bananas. As you have Doc Holliday...
Which scene?
At the actual gunfight at OK Corral, you have the Clantons on one side.
Yep.
And Johnny Ringo is in hiding, and you have the Earp boys.
Yeah, the Johnny Ringo's working with the Clantons or the Clintons.
With the Clantons,
the Clinton Foundation.
The Clintons.
This goes pretty deep.
This goes real deep.
Yeah, and then Doc Holliday.
And then you have the Earp boys on the other side. Doc Holliday is sneaking around as is Johnny Ringo sneaking around. But anyway, you have all the Clanton guys lined up there in the middle of the street. Side by side, shooting at the Earps walking slowly down the middle of the road and just wildly missing. I don't know how it's possible. They are 20 feet away from each other. How could Wyatt Earp possibly be scared of these people? Considering they cannot hit the broadside of a barn.
And there's so many scenes that are useless.
Every single person.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Every single person who gets shot has to die in a way that's more over the top than the previous person dying. I mean, the first guy who gets shot, I think it was the guy's name. He's only in it for the very beginning. He was the hired hand of the Clintons who was hired to kill Doc Holliday. I think that was, who do we got there? It was Seth Harper. It was the character. And Doc shoots him, makes it look like the doctor shot him, and he just goes flying back against the bar, and his arms are in a position that don't make any sense if gravity has any sort of say in the matter.
Gravity's
just
not
dies there. Poor Charlie, he dies. He gets almost thrown forward over the bar, which makes no sense after he gets shot. Every guy that gets shot at the OK Corral is giving you at least 5 seconds right to the camera of look at me dying. It was just fantastic acting all around.
Yeah,
Mwah. Lovely.
Ike Clanton is the guy that is my favorite.
Yeah.
He is
Phineas. I like
awful.
Phineas is the one with the stammer, I think.
Yes. Yes.
And I liked him. I thought he was the one who actually pulled off the accent the most reliably.
He was
and
fine,
had more of a character going on with him. He is taunting Virgil Earp, the lad, from behind bars, and just gave him like a sinister laugh that I thought was like, okay, this guy actually knows. He has a character in mind and knows what he's doing with it. Everyone else was just kind of showing up.
Billy Clanton,
but a lot of the
Clantons. Going on with Billy Clanton, that was he had his own. He was on his own journey. He seemed to have the accent
absolutely.
okay. Like,
did he?
Well,
no.
compared to Ike,
I thought his
Ike is a
the
complete
most.
train wreck, and I wasn't sure if Ike was drunk at the time. I mean, he's probably gone. If he's not gone, I did no disrespect to
God bless
the
him.
actor that played him, but
Sure.
he was just a hot mess. Like, any time that he had lines and he'd just stammer around and everybody's again, there's too many words. So there's so many times that someone's just talking and it's like you got to get the scene moving, but there's just too many letters followed by other letters. What they need to do,
you could just cut some of the words because we're just going to sing about it in 2 seconds
well, you're gonna
anyway.
get
So you don't really need to say anything.
And there's just so many scenes that are like, hey, you want to go with me? Yeah. Well, I guess I can't. Okay. Like, there's like all these things that go nowhere. Just like scenes for no reason, and it's all.
Well, yeah, I would say like the one. So I said at the beginning,
bartender.
like we didn't have a lot of that like back and forth where people like running between two different places and get captured and recaptured. But it sort of happened with Dodo getting carted away with Kate and Doc Holliday. So they have to go like one town over or something, and they just hang out at a hotel where Doc Holliday runs into somebody and shoots him. Oh, well.
Doc Holliday murders people all 4 episodes. Like, there's so many. The body count on this must be the highest we've ever seen. Or at least the murder.
On screen,
like, it's
anyway.
Just straight murder. People are just
straight
murdering each other. It's just nuts. But it's all fine.
It's all fine. It's all the Wild West.
The doctor actually had a toothache, though. Like, he had a toothache that was so rotted that he went to the 1800s to get it fixed?
Well, I think that was not the reason they went to the 1800s. And remember, at this point in the time, the TARDIS just goes where it goes.
No, but he lands, right? Doesn't he ask for
the first
dentist?
thing he does is look for a dentist, yes.
Is that...
So I think any planet he would have landed on, he would have asked for the dentist. So we just happened to be in one where the dentist is a straight-up cold-blooded killer.
It's all fine.
Who's also a doctor.
And then he doesn't charge him, which was very, very nice.
That was the first one goes free. Well, he paid in other ways, so that's fine. But okay, so we should talk about Johnny Ringo. You mentioned real quick.
Oh, I hated him.
The two characters that get added towards the end, Johnny Ringo and Pa Clanton come in, and they were the 2 worst guest stars on this episode. Pa Clanton was just horrible. Just I don't know what he was doing there. He did not seem to be in the same show. Just any sort of comedic value we had in some of the Clantons trying to do their own thing was just kind of set aside by this guy. Whatever, he's fine. Johnny Ringo was just terrible.
He was awful. Now, Johnny Ringo, I believe, he dies right when he captures Dodo, and then she literally just hits his arm
pushes
and he
him out of the way.
Falls over and then gets shot? Or is that another character that died that way?
No, that was her. That was her and him. And we don't know much about Dodo, but maybe she's a martial artist.
All of a sudden, he just falls on the ground and then he gets shot. You could have figured out a better way to kill him. I don't know. That would seem like he's supposed to be this cold-blooded killer, and literally he like
who's
trips
gonna be
and
like
then falls on his side, and then for like 10. There's a lot of like delays. So there's Yeah, there's another scene when is it horses? You hear horses? Yeah, I think you hear the sound of horses come up. And then the guys are supposed to react to the sound of horses. But there's like a 5-second delay between when they play the sound of the horses and the actors act. So it's like, come on. Which I guess, with budgets and you're not able to just do this easily in editing, but...
Well, I mean, these seem to be... shot pretty much like stage plays. So to your point earlier, like there's just too many words. The number of actors who flub lines and the number of times that happens and stays in the story is crazy. There's at least 5 or so of just like complete screwing up the line, do another take. And, Hartnell does that all the time, and it's kind of cute.
Oh, it happens
one or two, and it's fine. But it happens a lot in this one. Yep. Just a ton. And I think maybe you are right. Maybe it is, thinking about trying to keep an accent as you're going. Trying to figure out how you ended up in this place, in this moment. Maybe that's a little self-reflection. I don't know. There's not a whole lot more to say about this other than... It was, for me, better than I would have feared, considering my predisposition to not liking historicals and not liking westerns. Period. And it would have been a perfectly fine episode without the singing. It was just the singing that just ruins this.
No,
for me.
I mean the singing. Like I get it, like the charm of trying to make it, but they didn't need as much of it. And it was literally like you'd have a scene for a couple minutes, and then they're singing again, and then a scene for a couple minutes, and then they're singing again. Like if they had done
half as much, it still would have been too much.
Yeah, if they they did it 4 times and they opened the episode, singing, that would have been fine. Yes.
Totally fine. Not open each episode with it. Do a final one at the end. That would have been okay. This was just way too much for no reason.
It was a lot.
No reason.
And but it was just wonderful. Like I have never had so much fun. I couldn't stop laughing. Like I was just crying, and I just kept watching these scenes over and over and over again. But then like by the part 4, I was like, I have no idea really what happened in the story. Like
yeah. But I don't think you really lost anything.
No, there's a mix-up. They think the Doctor is the Doc Holliday, and Doc Holliday is just a rogue with the heart of gold, kind of. Like there's like a lot of those scenes where Dodo pulls the gun on him, but then he's still cool with her. Like it's like there's a lot of like it's all fine.
There's also all of that. There are also just a couple of moments that I really like that were kind of throwaway. Most of them revolving around people talking about Katie and kind of making oblique references
to the
fact
prostitute?
that she's not just a singer.
Yeah. When they look and he's like, she likes to stay at other people's houses, if you know what I mean. Like, oh, okay.
If you pay extra, it's just like a different kind of song for you. They didn't say that, but they might as well. But yeah, so those were kind of, but I really liked her. I liked Katie in this. So anything that had to do with her was fine. Interesting tidbit that you may not have found is they were trying to cast well-known actors at the time to be some of the guest stars. So one of the actors they were considering for guest starring role as everybody's favorite Johnny Ringo was Patrick Troughton.
Oh, look at that.
But he was too busy at the time to actually be able to take on the role.
Good because
but can you imagine
if the Doctor had he been one of
exactly.
People.
I mean, in New Who, there's a lot of that. Not a lot, but there are a few times like what's her name? Amy Pond appearing, Karen Gillan appearing earlier in the Pompeii episode. Yeah. So there are a few of those, and like it happened
that
for
woman from
Torchwood as well.
Right,
yeah, exactly.
And we've done that too, but never like a Doctor having.
Never like this. No.
Although,
no.
Was a Doctor in a previous scene?
Yes, this did happen before because Capaldi was also in the same episode as Karen Gillan was, the Fires of Pompeii. He was the father in that one. But they didn't ever do any sort of fun retconning where it was like, oh, he took on this form because he remembered. Yeah, they never did any of that. So it did happen in New Who, at least that one time, and with some minor characters. But yeah, anyway, it would have been a different... I can't imagine the character of this badass gunslinger. out on a vendetta, Johnny Ringo, being played by Patrick Troughton. It would have been. Knowing Patrick Troughton now, like, would he have chosen to have a recorder instead of a gun?
Slide whistle.
It would have been great. I would have done a little slapstick.
The Doc Holliday, man, but whatever I don't know what he was going for. Did you pick up on any, like, did he remind you of someone? Like, I was trying to figure out, like, did he remind you of anyone? Or am I crazy? I guess I'm crazy.
I mean, it might have been the edibles, but no.
I think it probably was. I think that's 100%. That definitely colored my, my opinion of this. It's weird, though, like, the difference of this first Doctor and all Doctors that follow, in that he really knows nothing about history, this Doctor. Right? Yes. Like, I mean, he's there, but he doesn't make the connections to...
Well, I mean, he's even calling...
I don't think he knows who Wyatt Earp
at all, because he doesn't call Wyatt Earp as Warp.
Yeah, which was that...
He calls it...
I guess just a mistake, and they let that run?
No, that was a running joke the whole way through. Because I tend to watch these with the subtitles on, just because I want to catch every nuance. But no, it was absolutely Warp the whole time, Mr. Warp.
So weird.
Which is a strange choice, but yeah, for someone, a Time Lord who apparently knows everything that's ever happened in time and space. I know I'm exaggerating, but still, you would think these moments he would have some context of what was happening here. But it seemed like Steven and Dodo had more of an understanding of what was at stake and what was going on here than the Doctor did, which is fine. I don't know. Did you have any feelings about Dodo at all? Considering we don't know any of her backstory and she had so little to do in this actual one.
I don't. She was fine. I mean, I don't. Yeah. She didn't have much.
It could have been anyone.
Yeah, you could have swapped anyone out.
Yep.
It was all fine. I mean, she was excited to go to the West. So is she human? Is she from Earth? Is Steven from Earth? I remember we found him, like, talking to his two stuffed animals, like, on some future planet, right?
Yes.
But he was an astronaut who crash landed, but because he knows all about the West, he's excited to go to the West. I always wanted to be a cowboy, but he knows what cowboys are.
Yeah, they know all that, and Dodo even calls it the Wild West.
But how does he know? Isn't he from the far future? Like, is he? So he was an Earthling too?
I mean, yes, he is human. I think he came from Earth.
I can't remember any of it.
And we don't know what records have survived. I mean, maybe they only know it from the 90s Young Guns movies. That's how that's all I saw. Eric, those are our opinions here. We also asked people to let us know what they thought about this. And if you go back on Twitter, folks, around September 24th, you can watch in real time as Eric Grissom leaves out a bit of context of what he ate before watching this episode. Yeah, and you can see him tweeting a little bit about how much he was enjoying the episode at the time.
Yeah, that was like the first time I've ever played my hand before...
Yep.
You would have known sort of that I was enjoying it.
No, normally we are very strict about not talking about it beforehand, saving it for the podcast, etc. But Eric was having too much of a good time.
I was having a good time, and I watched all four back to back. It was like one big, just wonderful show.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I recommend that.
Hair of the Hound.
That's my.
Thank you very much for entertaining Eric as he was tweeting about this, because I couldn't jump in there. So fantastic. Oh, we did have a mental note to ask you about your high school theater experiences. Why did that come up again?
Oh, because that clip that I'm playing, I would love to go back in time and do that for drama class or theater class or whatever.
That's right.
To do I remember. Yeah, because we've talked about this. I was in Arsenic and Old Lace, Dan, as you know. You Can't Take It With You. I did Young Playwrights Festival, Dan. I did that. I was in a drama competition once. This is a true story. To do monologue, whatever. But I was with some guy who I went to high school with, and he had like an improv or something, some speech thing, and he chickened out. I didn't want to do it. So I went as him. And said I was him.
Oh.
And then I did a thing. And then I won the thing for the whole thing, but I couldn't claim my thing because I lied about who I was. So they were like just announcing this person's name, and no one came up to get the prize. But it was me. It was me the
That's
whole
amazing.
time. I did like bad stand-up.
You,
I
buddy.
think that's what I ended up doing. I was like, "What's up with homework or whatever."
Good job. I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear your.
But yeah, we're both theater
homework.
kids, Dan. You also come from the theater.
I come from a theater family.
Yeah, you are
doing
theater,
community theater blood. Since I was a baby.
This felt very much like community theater.
Absolutely, not to denigrate community theater by any means, of course.
This though felt way more than any other story that we've done.
Regional. This was like regional theater. This was not
just
bad.
The way that it was shot, blocked, performed. Yes. The musical interludes, like the whole thing felt like I was watching a play. Again, I was altered in a way where things were sort of, but it felt more like that than anything else we've done, in my opinion.
Well, other folks on Twitter had some opinions about this
what
as
did
well.
They think? I'm sure they all loved it.
Actually, we didn't get a ton of feedback here. I think people are trying to avoid having to rewatch or even think about this story again. Though Rob, Dead Riot 24 on Twitter, found your tweet thread with Hair of the Hound to be probably more entertaining than the actual story itself. Putting little words in your mouth there, my friend. Let's see. We got people saying, I am Jack Thursby on Twitter says that song, that dreaded song, and Jack, it's going to be sticking in my head maybe for the rest of the day. Just the variations on a theme, and it was just the same few words mixed around a couple of different times. Wordsmith Paul says, Doctor Who injected comedy into a bloody American Western to good effect, but may have undermined the story with a song framing the action. It's unloved, but in some respects, underrated.
Sure.
Hey, if Doctor Who magazine decides to run another reader poll and they suggest that everyone take an edible before watching
it'll go
shows,
right to the top. They're like, oh my God.
Rocket the whole way.
What happened here?
And apparently
Number
this
one.
isn't one of this is definitely in the bottom of the rankings, but it's not the bottom by any means. There's a number of stories that fall below this in the rankings. So Darren Lodge on Twitter says the Doctor gets a toothache and we all get an earache, so fill up your glasses and join in the song. It goes on forever, which is 4 episodes long. Beautiful. Thank you for putting in a little additional lyrics for that gosh darn song in there. He goes on to say the Gunfighters, to be fair, is a little gem. Comedy, Steven singing, mistaken identities, and old-fashioned.
Oh yeah,
shootout.
we forgot about Steven singing. Like Steven has to keep also singing another song over and over to the point that he's going insane.
Actually, he was kind of an audience stand-in at that point. He's like, "I've heard the song, so we've sung the song so many times already. Do I have to keep singing it?"
People probably like Steven too. I imagine. I don't know. Did you like Steven? I imagine he's probably liked.
I tend to like the companions. I tend to like the companions that have either a strong backstory, a strong set of like a unique perspective. You have Zoe with being at the math whiz. Adric being a smelly potato sack wearing
math boy.
Math boy. Those types of characters are great. This set of companions with Dodo, who we don't really know, we didn't get to see her get picked up. Steven, who we've just seen a couple of these, they are completely forgettable or replaceable. Fine, totally affable. They do a fine job, but there's nothing memorable or remarkable about them, in my opinion. That from what we've seen, and maybe people do love them, but that's just me.
I have to make a correction too. I said that it was Ike, I guess, that was confronting the Doctor in the dentist chair. It was actually Seth Harper.
That's okay. That makes more sense.
These fellas.
The guy gets killed towards the very beginning of this story anyway. It's easy to forget him.
Keep going.
Our friends at World Enough in Time podcast, World Enough Pod, say it's trendy to like it now, but I think most of it is misjudged. So I can't quite tell, friends there, if you like it, saying that it's misjudged and people are judging it too harshly, even though people are kind of retconning and saying they like it more than they did. How did you feel about it? For sure, though, I can't quite tell.
I took that saying people saying you don't like it is what's in vogue now, right?
It's trendy to like it now. It's trendy to like it now.
Oh, it's trendy to like it now. Got you. I misheard.
Yeah.
I'm all
It's
fair
okay.
enough.
Yeah. All right. And Unwoke Who says, please don't make me listen to the Last Chance Saloon again. We won't force you to do anything. That's not who we are here, but you should definitely go back and
never do that.
You should definitely listen to it. No, we should, as a production note here, we should be interjecting that song throughout this review. If you could just grab samples of them and just interject throughout. I know it's a lot to
The
ask,
only way to really do it is if we record our
hell.
own version of it. That's
not
not
happening.
going to happen.
That's not happening. But that would be really, really fantastic. So thank you for responding to us on Twitter. That's TODW Show on the Twitters and also on the Instagrams. I don't believe we have any emails
no, I didn't
this
see
go
any
around. Let me check while we're vamping here. Nope.
What a long way to go for the Ringo thing. Like episode 1 or 2, like the doctor sees the wanted poster. And and then all of a sudden later on, you get to finally meet him. It was just like, I don't know. It's a dumb note to
all for
bring
what
up,
though?
Right? It was just like, just so that he would know that he. That's fine. It's all fine.
Sure. You should definitely drop that observation right into the middle of
yes,
this.
Yes, it was.
There were
no
good.
It was
there were no
well
emails.
Worth it.
So if you are not on the Twitters and you want to get in touch with us, you can do that by email.
Oh,
That's
I also forgot.
Dr. Who Show at gmail.com.
Jeremy Piven, I was going to cast as the guy, as Ike, who had the terrible accent. I forgot. I was recasting all of these people. But yes,
It's okay. I mean, I wouldn't cast Jeremy Piven because he would have just canceled halfway through and blamed it on mercury poisoning from eating too much sushi. So, I mean, that's Piven for you. Yeah, so you can reach us on the emails. You can also check out the old DrWhoShow.com and see all the reviews and gifts from all of the previous stories that we have reviewed. Also, our the RSS feed that is in your feed reader right now that gives you these beautiful episodes 3 weeks at a time. It only shows the most recent 100 stories, and we are on 118 now. So if you want to go back and listen to the old ones, the original ones, you can do that by going to the website and listening to them there as well.
Yeah.
You can also comment on the show pages, leave some comments, have some conversations, especially on that schedule page. There's been a lot of back and forth there over the years, so if you want to jump in there and suggest additional stories that we should torture ourselves by listening to, and maybe we'll do them, maybe we won't. Eric, what else do you have to say for yourself, buddy?
Nothing. I should say what we're going to do next, because now that we're done
What are we going to do next?
Hartnell. Are we done with Hartnell?
Are we done?
No.
Are we done?
We have
done
one
with
more
Hartnell?
Hartnell, right?
I think that's right.
This is Jeopardy. This is the Gunfighters. We got to update our schedule page. We still don't have those links in.
Let's not.
We have the War Machines, right? So we do the death to the Daleks next. So that's another Pertwee story. And then we do Baker, and then we wrap around for the last. So this was not the last Hartnell. The War Machines is the last Hartnell. So
gotta do a Hartnell reach around.
Forget about that. What? Hey, now, Death to the Daleks is what you should be watching next time.
It will always be the Mr. Show sketch of the pre-recorded Radio College show.
That's the greatest.
It is still will always be that for me. We're terrific. Thank you, everyone, for
tired of doing
for listening to us.
Do you really want to do a Dalek story again? I'm tired of them.
No.
Tired of them.
But we have to do it. We have to do it because it's on the list, and the list is law. Death to the Daleks, and maybe it'll be the last Daleks that we do.
Elizabeth Sladen will make it worthwhile. Right?
You got that right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Is that it? Are we free?
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Okay.
Actually, it can't be Elizabeth Sladen. Isn't the next one? It's Pertwee.
Yeah, she was with him. She goes between both doctors.
Have I ever seen this show before?
With...
Have I ever seen Doctor? I've never actually seen an episode of Doctor Who.
She starts with Pertwee.
118 episodes into this, not including special episodes, and I don't know a thing about
Who is this Sarah
universe.
Jane? Yeah. Well, at least
who is this Doctor fellow?
All right, let's get out of this thing.
Okay. Goodbye, everybody. We love you.
Then he taps his leg. Oh, who is the fancy boy sitting on Wyatt Earp's desk? That's yep.
That's yeah. It's his young brother / Ward.
Oh, the doctor actually had a toothache. That really set me off too.
That's the thing that kind of blew your mind. All right,
dude.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. Oh wait, are we done? I was saying goodbye to you.
I'm saying goodbye to you as well.